She tugged on the officer's sleeve with trembling fingers, her voice cracking as she whispered, "Please, please come home with me. Mommy won't wake up." Officer Daniels froze. The little girl's big brown eyes were drowning in fear, her small chest rising and falling too fast, as if she'd been holding in terror for hours. The entire precinct went silent. No one expected a child to walk in alone. No one expected a plea like that. Just minutes earlier, Daniels had been finishing paperwork when he noticed her, thin, maybe 6 years old, standing barefoot at the front entrance, her clothes damp from the rain. Her hair was tangled curls, and the sleeves of her oversized t-shirt hung past her hands. She hadn't said a word at first. She only stared, shivering. The moment she quietly whispered, "I need help," the room shifted. But this request hit harder than anything he had handled in years. "Sweetheart," Daniel said softly, kneeling to meet her eye level. "What's your name?" She wiped her nose with the back of her arm. "Lila." Her voice was barely a breath. "Mommy didn't move all morning. I shook her. I called her. She didn't move." The officers exchanged looks. Daniel swallowed, fear creeping into his bloodstream. This wasn't just a welfare check. This was a rescue. Within seconds, Daniels grabbed his jacket and umbrella. "Lila, can you show me where you live?" She nodded quickly and grabbed his hand with desperate force. As they stepped outside, the rain hit them in icy sheets, yet Lila didn't flinch. She led them down 2 blocks, then across a muddy field behind an old apartment complex. "We lived there," she pointed, at the last building, where half the windows were covered with cardboard and the metal staircase rattled in the wind. Daniels held the umbrella over her small, shivering body as they climbed the stairs. Her bare feet slapped against the cold metal steps, and every few seconds she whispered, "Please hurry." When they reached the door, Daniels immediately noticed the splintered frame and a broken lock. "Has anyone been here today?" She hesitated. "He left last night. Mommy told him to go." His stomach tightened. Whoever he was hadn't left gently. Inside the apartment, the smell hit first. Dampness, mold, stale air. The place was dim, the power having been shut off. Daniel swept the flashlight across piles of laundry, dirty dishes, and drawings taped to the walls, bright crayon pictures of a smiling stick figure labeled Mommy and Lila. Then Lila pointed. "She's in there." Daniels rushed into the bedroom. A woman lay half-curled on the floor, her cheek bruised, her arm twisted awkwardly, and her lips pale. Daniels checked her pulse, weak but present. Relief washed through him. "She's alive," he whispered. Lila collapsed into sobs, clinging to him. "I thought she died." She choked. "I didn't know what to do." Daniels wrapped an arm around her. "You did the right thing. You saved your mom." He radioed for immediate medical support. Within minutes, paramedics stormed in, lifting the unconscious woman onto a stretcher. Lila tried to follow, but her little legs gave out. Daniel scooped her up gently and carried her outside. "Will she be okay?" she whimpered, her head resting on his shoulder. "She's strong, and she's going to get help now." When they arrived at the hospital, Lila refused to leave her mother's bedside. Daniel stayed too. A doctor eventually explained, "She suffered a concussion and dehydration. It looks like domestic assault." Daniels had already figured that part out, but hearing it made his anger burn hotter. He stayed with Lila while nurses tended to her mother, warming her with blankets and giving her food. She ate slowly, her hands trembling around a plastic cup of juice. Hours passed. Finally, her mother stirred. "Lila?" she whispered. The little girl leapt forward, clutching her mother's hand. "Mommy, I was so scared." Tears spilled from her mother's eyes. "I'm so sorry, baby." Daniel stepped back quietly, giving them space. but Lila turned and called out, "Don't go!" Her mother looked up, recognizing him. "Thank you for saving us." "Your daughter saved you. She was braver than most adults I've ever met." But the story didn't end at the hospital. The next hours brought social workers, legal forms, statements, photographs. Lila clung to Daniels through it all. When Child Protection Services arrived to decide next steps, Lila grabbed his sleeve again, the same way she had at the precinct. "Can you stay, please?" The worker glanced at Daniels. "She trusts you," she said quietly. "Maybe it would help." By evening, Lila's mother was stabilized and awake enough to answer questions. She admitted what Daniels suspected: months of abuse, isolation, and threats. She had tried to leave. She had tried to protect her daughter. But the man kept coming back. Last night, he showed up drunk. She tried to fight. He knocked her down and left her unconscious. "I thought he would hurt Lila next," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so ashamed." Daniel shook his head. "You survived, and your daughter is safe. That's what matters now." When CPS informed her that they would help her relocate to a safe shelter, she cried again, but this time out of relief. Lila climbed beside her and laid her head on her mother's chest. "We'll be okay now," she whispered, repeating the words Daniels had said earlier. Before leaving, Daniels knelt beside the little girl. "You know, not many kids your age would walk through a storm alone to find help. You're one of the bravest people I've ever met." Lila smiled, weak but real, for the first time all day. "You came because I asked. Nobody ever comes when we ask." Daniels felt his throat tighten. This time, someone did. As he stepped out of the hospital into the cool night air, he glanced back through the glass doors at the little girl curled beside her recovering mother. And for the first time in a long time, he felt something too: hope.